So this is how this is going to go. I'm going to give you my thoughts, and then around the end, I'm going to react to a whole news thing where they talk to two promoters about what happened to club culture. But that's what we talking about today. We talking about my view and just even their view of what happened to clubbing, because when you look at this, it says a new study shows millennial men are not interested in going out as much as the women. I got to pay to get in. I got to pay for drinks. I got to pay for food and gas parking. The girls don't even be single for real. And I have to work in the AM too. Keep it. Keep it. Now, this is the thing. When you talk about people who are like Gen Z, those are people born from 1997 to 2012. So the youngest person is going to be about 27 right now, turning 28 at some point. But when we look at millennials, we are older. We are in our 30s. Now, this is the thing, we could sit here and we could talk about whether people in their 30s should be in a club or not, XYZ, XYZ. We not doing none of that today. Just to let you know, when we go through the video, we not doing this is debauchery and shouldn't be doing this. That we not doing none of that today. We strictly focusing on going to the club, the evolution of club culture, and why nobody really wants to fuck with it no more as far as dudes. That is going to be the focus of the video, and most of it's going to be from my perspective, and then we'll do the reaction around the end. So we are going to start here as far as the foundation. Us as millennials, people who are like in their mid 30s, whatever the case may be, 96 and below and stuff like that, whatever the case may be, most of us have experienced clubbing pre-social media. Pre-social media. So that is where we have to start. And where we have to start is what the club experience was pre-social media. I cannot tell you about the 90s because I am somewhat of a 90s baby. I was born in the 80s, but my whole childhood is in the 90s basically. So by the time I start partying and stuff like that, I'm in middle school. So that's one thing. That's kids stuff, but it's still you if you know, you know. Kids emulate adults. But when we get to like the mid 2000s, that's when I'm getting into the bars and clubs and stuff like that. So what is going on around that time? Now, I cannot speak for white people. I just want to make that clear. This is mostly going to be about black clubs and black culture. That's what it's going to be about. So I'm going to lay a few things out. As far as getting fresh, we just going to start there. As far as getting fresh, it was very easy, and the trends and everything were pretty diverse. You're going to wear your big ass baggy clothes, but this is the thing. Nobody is hyper concerned about brands around that time. If we're talking about the early 2000s, like '03 and stuff like that, people was buying throwback jerseys and stuff like that. So that was a big thing. If we get to the mid 2000s, people was wearing button ups and blazers on a Kanye Jay-Z tip. When we get to the late 2000s, people was on the Ed Hardy's wave as far as the trends and stuff like that. And polo, wearing polo, like just a bunch of polo and stuff like that. And just remember the polo, because that's that's the highest brand the people were concerned about and revolving around as far as like a trend and stuff like that. Young Jeezy is rapping about 501 Levi jeans and stuff like that in that time. Like, that's not an expensive pair of jeans. So when you just look at how, it was to get fresh for a dude, it didn't cost much. You could actually go to the discount stores, put together an outfit, be fresh, fit in, and not really worry about nobody looking at you no type of way, not worried, because black people are really superficial. Let me just keep it a bean, especially when we talking about the club. And when it comes to the shoe game, it wasn't as crazy as it is now. It's just if you had Jordans, cool. If you had Reebok Classics, cool. If you had Air Force Ones, cool. All that stuff, right? All that stuff. So that's the dressing for the guy side. Let's talk about the women very quickly. And we're still in the 2000s. The thing with women is that we don't care what they wearing. And guess who also doesn't care what they wearing? Women. So what do? They go to Fashion Bug. They go to like all these discount stores like Rainbow and Route 20. What is it? Route 21 and Charlotte Rouge and shit. I think Charlotte Rouge is closed. Like all these discount stores. You look at all these stores in the mall, bro. It was some point in like the 2010s where I went to the mall and I was like, it's really hitting me that consumerism in America is really driven by women heavily. Like that's when I began to have the epiphany before I even got into any like, Rolo talking points or anything like that. Cause I was like, yo, 90% of these stores are for women. I never noticed how far I had to walk past the food court just to get to one of the stores that I like, and how many female stores, how many stores geared towards females I had to pass. So they got so many discount stores that will give you a pair of high heels that look like some red bottoms or whatever the case may be. And that's the expensive version of what chicks was wearing and stuff like that at some point. That might have been in the 2010s, but you get those for like $12. You get a pair of heels for $12. Or you get the pointy ass heels to where you could kick somebody in the nuts and stab them and shit. You know? That's that stiletto pumps in the club. Yeah, that's that era right there. So, these chicks was putting together some of the cheapest outfits. So even as a dude going to a lot of the discount spots, like the one thing you can't really get the discount on too much is the shoes. You're going to have to really put on a good pair of shoes. It's going to cost something, because that's what black women and just even Latin women and stuff, like anybody a part of the black community, that's what they look at first. That's what they really be on. So you had to do that. Now, let's get past the wardrobe. Let's go straight to the experience. This is what the experience was. The experience was you were going in the club to talk to women. You might not even talk to women that night, but you might just get dances without even talking to women. And we'll talk about that in a moment. You were going to vibe. You might stand around. If you were a drinker, you might go to the bar, drink. If your whole game is buying chicks drinks, you might do that. So you could get that conversation, so you could get that dance. I was never a drink buyer in my life. The DJ, this is the thing about the DJ. The DJ whole job is to make people dance. His whole job is to make people turn up. Now that might sound like, common sense, and that might sound universal. I can't wait until we get to what the fuck is going on now, because we have lost that. That is something that even in the music is barely present anymore. So back then it was more about fun. And I know I sound like an old dude when I say back then, but we talking about 20 years ago, literally. So let's go back to the dancing. You could literally, before all this Me Too shit, just grab a chick hand, grab her arm or whatever, pull her towards you, right? She look back at you. If she like what you look like, if she like what's going, she's going to begin to shake and gyrate her ass, her whole ass on your pelvis. You might stand it, you might grab her arm, do little dance moves with her and shit like that. You might, do all types of shit. You might lean back on your guys or lean back on the wall while she twerking you and stuff like that. You bend your knees, all this shit. Like, that's the type of shit that was going on. Now, when you go to certain cities, when you talk about like Chicago or something like that, in the like late 2000s, it could get kind of crazy. Dudes is like body waving and humping chicks, man. I remember I was in a city I'm not gonna name, man. These dudes was just, I don't want to just say dry humping, because you might just think it's like some slow paced stuff. Like, these dudes was grabbing chicks by the hips that was trying to twerk, and they was ramming into them fast paced like they was hitting it from the back. I had never seen nothing like it. Was ridiculous. But guess what? Everybody was cool with all of that stuff. It was going. It was great. It was fun. We was all cool. Like, everything was good. Now, this is the other thing that I have to mention. And y'all could correct me if I'm wrong. I've been in a lot of cities. I wasn't in Miami. But back then, this was a thing, man. You go in a club And if you want to ball out and you want to make people think you a baller and stuff like that, and I don't support this shit, but we got to talk about it because it's the truth. Making it rain became a thing to where even broke dudes would come in the club and throw their money in the air, right? If you bought a bottle or you was buying bottles, they would just bring you the bottle. They would just give you the bottle. It wasn't, I don't remember no sparklers until a certain point in the 2010s. I don't remember that because it didn't happen. I remember being at, so like, we bought a bottle of champagne at one bar before. And let me not say we is in, because I'm not about to get on this internet and cap. One of my dudes bought a bottle of champagne. I was not a champagne buyer, my guy. I'm not about to get on this internet and cap to you. But we got a bottle of champagne. And it just came as a bottle of champagne in a motherfucking, what you call it, in some ice and a fucking bucket. And that was it. Now listen, I can't speak for Vegas because when I first heard about all this section stuff, it was some Vegas shit. That's the first time I heard about it. In the black club experience, there were no sections. There were no tables. You know what the only thing there was? The only thing there was at a certain point was VIP. And VIP is basically you cross a line and all of you people who paid for VIP access are in this act. Y'all just in this area partying. That's what that was. Now, let's talk about, back then, what it was and stuff like that. I remember getting into the club for $10 and stuff like that, and that used to be the fee in a lot of places. A lot of times, and I'm going to keep it so real with you. You want me to keep it real with you? Where I'm from, when you go to party at mixed clubs, which means white and black, they got all that going on, or you go to a white club, they are letting you in for free. When you go to some black Aries versus Pisces bash, like that shit right there, like they trying to hit you for 10, sometimes 5, but they trying to hit you for something to get in. And I'm not gonna lie, for me, like 10 was a breaking point. When we go to these parties and like, oh, it's cracking inside, oh, it costs 20 or something like that. I don't remember if I ever paid 20. I'm pretty sure I have for something that was like really cracking because they'll do that to you. Back then, 20 was like, okay, you really got to cough this up type shit. I can't wait till we get to now. I can't wait. But listen, the one thing I got to let you know, yeah, you get done with the club. You go out in the parking lot. They had some parking lot pimping, which probably still go on to this day. But, people be playing music in the parking lot. We loiter around the club for a minute. They playing music. Cats is stunting. People might start fighting. It's possible, kind of rare, but possible somebody starts shooting, and that's it. The thing that I had to mention, though, with all of this, as far as most of this, remember, women get the cheap outfits, right? A lot of them get in the club for free, especially if the promoter is a thirsty dick nigga, man. These promoters, and we don't even got to go just promoters. It be doormen, too. If the doorman is a thirst monger, bruh, motherfuckers, and even then, the doorman not really supposed to be letting that happen because the doorman typically not even a promoter. Like, we talking security or just the guy who collect the fee at the door. Like, sometimes, it depend on what they running their operation like as far as a promoter. But, like, yeah, that's what be going on. So chicks get in free. So, boom, they get a cheap-ass outfit, right? They get in free in a lot of cases. But then on top of that, they go not planning to spend any money, a lot of chicks. And they just like, I'm going to flirt around and I'm going to get some guys to pay for some drinks. That was the MO. That was the move. That's pretty much the experience back then. And I just want to make it clear if it wasn't clear, like it was a lot of fun and the primary focus was dancing, getting dances, and possibly in some cases for some guys getting sex. That's what it was. And even for girls, like it was to come out and dance on dudes, blah, blah, blah. And this is the one thing about it that I want you to know that I didn't really mention. It used to get really crazy. Sometimes, which you could say it probably still happens now, there would be sex acts that happen in front of everybody, like in front of everybody. But I want you to know this is pre-cell phones. This is pre-smartphones. This is pre-camera on the phone, high definition. That's Tada Quisha, who live on, fucking 30th and Lennox, and her brother is Iceman. It's before all of that. It's before all of that. Now, we're going to go and talk about some of the evolution and, some of the experience now. So when we look at the experience now, we're going to start where we started the last time. The evolution of getting fresh. The evolution of getting fresh. Remember, I said you could get discount clothes. Polo was the most expensive, like, clothing that you was really going to get that was popular back then and stuff like that. Now, you might say, oh, I seen Tupac wear Versace drawers. Everybody didn't care about getting no designer, man. And designer wasn't the freshest shit out. It just wasn't the flyest shit out. It just wasn't. Not in the 2000s. When we make it, like Coogee was like really popping at one point. And Coogee used to be like a big brand, like where the Coogee sweater was like kind of iconic and shit. But some urban people bought the brand. They started making like soldier gear out of the Coogee and stuff like that. Soldier polos and all types of stuff. And if you go and type in Lil Boosie Coogee, that's where Coogee changed into like some urban Burlington Co factory, Gabe's, like just discount outlet store shit. So that's what happened with Coogee. And you could still be fresh getting some Coogee back then, like in 09, 08, all that stuff. This is where the evolution began to happen. In the early 2010s, niggas started getting these Batman, Superman, utility designer belt ass shits to where you get the belt, right? It's got the Damier print or whatever on the belt, whether it's Louis Vuitton, Hermes, whatever. And it's got like gold plated logo in the middle. Now these belts the niggas was wearing was $500, $800. And this became one of the standards. Like it became something that was real standard, like as far as outfits and stuff like that. So what people would do, they would go and they would get fake ones. Of course, some people would stock up on fake ones and it'd just be, okay, so you got a bunch of fake belts, but a lot of people is getting the real belts. For people who like me, who don't want to fake, it's like, okay, so that's one trend you can't really follow. Like I'm not about to do no fake, and I'm not about to get no like off-brand belt that look like any of that shit. I'm gonna just choose a different style to where I don't need that belt. Now, this is what happened. And I know some of y'all might be like, well, oh, Dapper Dan was doing his thing back in the day with the Louis Vuitton and the drug dealers was buying. Like, that's cool. That's cool. Through the 2000s, like, niggas was not, the majority of niggas was not fucking designer mascots. They just wasn't. After that Ed Hardy era, and once we get into that Superman belt era, we entered the designer era, and we still kind of in the designer era, and I don't think it's going nowhere amongst niggas. If you look at these ugly ass Balenciaga shoes or the bulky joints or anything like that, when you look at the stacked jeans and the purple jeans, the brand is called Purple. They let the tag hang from the jeans and shit like that. They had the, what was the other one? Robin jeans with the bedazzled shit on the butt, stuff like that. Like, and niggas was saying, oh, that shit is gay, but niggas are still buying it. And you can't really say nothing to niggas because, certain niggas kill people and stuff like that. Even now, they got the shit with the flowers on it. What is that shit called? Chrome Hearts. Chrome Hearts be costing like $10,000 for a pair of jeans, bro. Some of the other brands that I mentioned is like 1 rack, 2 rack, 3 racks. For anybody who doesn't understand, that's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. But when we talk about Chrome Hearts, 10 bands. 10 bands for some jeans. Everybody is masquerading either in fake Chrome Hearts, or some people feel the need to go and buy a $10,000 sweatsuit, $5,000 sweatsuit, $10,000 pair of jeans. That is insane, bro. That is just pure insanity. And I know y'all might not be into rap or nothing like that, but Tony Yayo was just talking about Big Meech, son. Big Meech, we not even going to get into all of that, but I'm going to just say, bro, the dude, Big Meech, son, Lil Meech, he done bought like So many pairs of chrome heart jeans and stuff like that, and they all 10K, bro. Tony Yayo said, bro, that's like 100K. How is your dad, which is what Tony Yayo said, how is you telling people that your dad is struggling for money and stuff like that? Because that's what he told the 50 in the text message. But you got, 18 pairs of $10,000 jeans. Like, just go let one of those go. Now, again, that's not me saying that. That is Tony Yayo saying that on Vlad TV. But that's where we at with the clothes, right? That's like some super separation shit right there. Like, most guys are not gonna be wearing purple jeans and but a lot of people feel the need to fit in, so they gonna get the fake shit, blah blah blah. And even then, if you're a regular guy, you still, bruh, the prices for like acceptable clothing, it's not like it was to where you go into the discount spot and you're not doing that no more. Not in a club, not if you're trying to put together an outfit, the bitches are gonna be like, okay, that's acceptable. Your fit is gonna have to at least be like a bare minimum, keeping it all the way being with you. It's gonna at least have to be worth $300. Like, it's gonna have to at least be worth $300. I was not going out in $300 fits, bro. I was not going out in $300 fits. One way around that is just wearing a white tee and stuff like that. But even then, if you were on a club scene wherever you were at, the more you go out and the more pictures that come back from those nights and stuff, you don't want to be just known as the white tee guy and stuff like that. So, you got that. We won't even get into the jewelry stuff with all the moissanite diamonds and the diamond tester. We won't get into all of that. But again, for the guys, like, dressing is more expensive now. Dressing is more expensive. You do not have to dress like those guys, but you still have to be presentable. And to be presentable is just higher. Because I'm going to tell you something. Remember what I said back then? The shoes matter. You're not getting Reebok Classics and Pumas and going in the club like, I can't even get it out, dog. It's just, now it's just not going, bro. I don't know. That could really lose you a whole babe, if I'm being real with you. Which, let's go back to babes. You are going to be getting judged by a chick who is living by the same standards that have always been. We don't even have to go all the way to the end to get to this shit. When it comes to the chicks right now, they are still, even with all this inflation, even with all of the stuff that I just talked about as far as getting fresh, they are still buying discounted clothes. And guess what? They don't even got to go to the mall no more. Malls are dying. They are dying because of Shein and Fashion Nova. They get so much cheap clothes off of Shein and put outfits together and judge you for not having on designer. That's the craziest shit. But then on top of that, they are still getting in the club for free. A lot of them are still getting in the club for free. Bulk as a group. Guess what? Who is still buying them drinks? Guys are still buying them drinks, and I'm sure liquor is more expensive than ever, I'm sure. And we gonna get to dancing and everything, but as far as women's experience in the club, like, it really just hasn't changed. For the most part, it has not changed. Now let's go and talk about the experience portion that I mentioned earlier. So when we get to the experience, I have to let you know the catalyst for the change in the experience. Are you ready? It is a smartphone. That is number one. Number two is Instagram. But number three, most importantly, this is the one right here. Snapchat. It is Snapchat. And I'm going to tell you why. When Instagram dropped, it was mainly just for pictures. I don't know if a lot of y'all know that. It was strictly for pictures. They didn't have video. Vine came out. And they started doing 13-second videos. To match that, Instagram started doing videos. Vine got out of here. They got Vine out of here. So the way that Vines were made, they were just a bunch of jump cuts and things like that. So it wasn't long form concentrated video or anything like that. Nobody was trying to live their life through vines and stuff like that. They was really trying to make comedy skits or just put up something real quick and real brief. That wasn't really much of a threat to the club stuff, but listen, when Snapchat came out, but before I get to that, Instagram became a part of club culture. Back then in the 2000s, what you would do is you would go and you would pay Mr. Ernie or whoever, some old dude at the bar or at the club, to take your picture. And they will take your picture in front of an airbrush backdrop of two Lamborghinis, a whole ocean, a jet ski, yet a mansion in the background of the ocean somehow, and airbrush Gucci Mane face, airbrush T.I. face, all that stuff. So that's how that stuff used to play out. You used to take those pictures, and guess what? You'll see like one of these hood rats, you'll go to one of their cribs to smash at some point, and they will have a bunch of empty bottles that we used to call trophies and stuff like that they finished off just on the shelf, like assorted, like it's a decoration. And then they would also have pictures of them from the club, it framed, sitting on a table, bending over with other chicks and stuff like that in front of it. And the funniest part is like these chicks got kids and they see the bottles of liquor and they see like, the what you call it, the pictures of them in the club. And it's like, okay, mom's a hood rat. We clearly know that mom's a hood rat because she's an alcoholic. And on top of being an alcoholic to smoke Black and Milds, we could see what she be looking like in the club. Ridiculous. But yeah, you got more people now as far as like the Instagram era posing for pictures inside the club, outside the club. They don't need Mr. Ernie no more. They got their smartphone. Plus, they want to they want to get their public image up online. When Twitter came out and MySpace was out, like it wasn't too much about the picture so much. It was just like on MySpace, it was about the pictures, but on Twitter, it was about, bro, what is you saying? What is you saying? And we was actually communicating with each other. We wasn't communicating publicly on MySpace like that. When Twitter first came out, it was a digital party, but that's neither here nor there. When we get to this Snapchat stuff, Snapchat, you know how Snapchat works. The way that it was used is similar to how it is used today. People were capturing what is going on in a moment, and they would take however many videos they got to take to capture what's going on in the moment and put it on their story, and it stays up for 24 hours. Nobody's supposed to be able to screenshot it or anything like that. It'll notify you XYZ, but everybody can see what's going on. So when we get into this Snapchat era, the difference between Vine and the difference between Instagram is everybody wanted to start recording, not just selfies of them, like, with filters and stuff on their faces, but they wanted to start recording everyday life. They wanted to record what was going on at work. They wanted to record what was going on at the gas station. And guess what else they wanted to record? What was going on at the club. Now, you remember what I told you earlier, how it used to get crazy in the club. It used to get nasty. People was doing all types of stuff. And guess what? The one foundational thing that was happening was people were dancing, and the dancing was her gyrating her butt cheeks on your groin area. That's what it was. In an assortment of different ways. There was so many ways you could get twerk. You could even get lap danced in some cases. So these chicks are doing all this crazy stuff in the club, and if you're not there, you don't know that she's doing it unless somebody tells you. Well, now, people outside the club who never go to the club or had no intention on going to the club, you might even be trying to dodge your boyfriend or some of the dudes that you're talking, whatever the case may be. If Rondell or Tadaquisha picks up her phone and starts recording what's going on in the club, and you just so happen to be in one of those shots, twerking up a guy that you don't know that grabbed your arm, that could be social suicide for you, depending on who the guy is, depending on what type of image you're trying to uphold in the public. So that could be social suicide. So what happens? When that happens, what happens? Chicks stop twerking. Chicks stop twerking. Let me tell you something. I was in a club in 2015, and this was the beginning of the end for me. I'm in the club and I'm standing, not talking to no babes, I'm not in front, I'm looking around. It's only one dude getting twerked. Everybody else is standing and looking around just like me. Nobody's dancing. This is a cracking party that I'm talking about. So it is tons of people. It's a sea of people in this motherfucker, right? Nobody's dancing except one person. But then you look at the VIP area, the stage. What are they doing on the VIP area / stage? They are twerking the air. They are throwing it back at the air. They are twerking on nothing. In some cases, what you will see is chicks twerk on other chicks. But guess who wasn't getting twerked anymore? Guess who wasn't getting dances anymore? Men. You remember the guys who make it rain? You remember the guys who are buying like all this designer to be flying a club? You remember the guys who are buying drinks? These guys cannot get a dance anymore because women don't dance with guys no more. I don't get it twisted. You could still get some sexual activity, but what's going to happen is, for the most part, from what I know, from what I be hearing, from what I be seeing, because I don't be in the club that much no more, you could duck off somewhere. You could go to the bathroom possibly. You could go to the parking lot. The parking lot is probably the best bet because somebody could still walk in with a camera on some weirdo shit in the bathroom. But yeah, like you could do some of that. But certain stuff used to happen like out in the open, like right behind the speaker, right on the bar, like whatever the case may be. That's to my knowledge, that's pretty dead. And when I do see it, it's rare and it's like I'm seeing it on somebody's snap because it's happening and this person is like just being broadcasted. They know they being broadcasted because that's what happens. Somebody's going to pull their camera out immediately. But going back to it, when we talk about that whole part of the experience, like that was where the fun was. The fun was in the dancing. These chicks do not want to dance with dudes no more because it makes them look like hoes. Even though they look like hoes 10 years ago, even though there are a bunch of people who could see them looking like hoes 10 years ago, they don't want it immortalized on the internet, on people's phones, them doing hoe shit to where it can come back and haunt them tomorrow, tonight, 10 years from now, anything like that. They don't want that. They absolutely do not want that. So what happens? The twerking stops and you get this weird culture, right? Where we're not twerking no dudes, but we are also like this new sex positive society, sex worker positive. Oh, get your OnlyFans and all this stuff. So chicks can twerk the air and it's cool. I'm not a hoe. I'm not fucking nobody. I'm not even doing this to a man. You can't even attach this to a man. So I'm not a slut. I'm going to shake my butt on a girl and be fake gay. What's the harm in that? You can't be a slut messing with a girl. And even then, this chick is not even gay. Neither one of us is gay. We just twerking on each other. We just having fun. So that's a big part of the experience. Like the whole dancing is taken away. And these chicks is worried about looking like the hoes that they actually are. It's just me keeping it being. Now, when we get past that, remember I said the music back then, you might have like some, I'm on, wipe me down. And just what else? Swag surfing, the whole club starts swag surfing. Bruh, with all this TikTok stuff going on now and all these TikTok dances, there are no dances that, okay, this song come on and it's not like one of those Detroit shuffle ass joints, but like some swag surfing, like we really got to dance this. It's none of those records out right now at this moment to where the whole club is going to dance. If you hear a record like that, it's from over 10 years ago. Because what happened to the music? What happened to the music is we had this whole depressing wave with people like Juice WRLD, rest in peace, Rod Wave, NBA Youngboy, Post Malone, all these people making this sad music. And somehow it's found its way into the club and the whole club be singing it. And then on top of that, what else happened? All this drill music. all this drill music about murdering and killing. These niggas ain't even trying to get no bitches. They trying to kill somebody. The rappers now is trying to kill somebody. And guess what that makes chicks in the club do? It brings them into their masculine. Like, they just be in the club doing trigger fingers and rapper arms. Like they be rapping the songs like they dudes. And it's some of the weirdest shit. So it's like neither one of those things created energy to where chicks want to dance. And that's where a lot of the music is went. It's went into a place where it's like Pooh Shiesty was one of the biggest rappers. Like, we talking just just a lot of hyper violent dudes as far as rappers. And that becomes the music that's played in a club. So the experience is different. Now, we already talked about, liquor prices being up and stuff like that, and et cetera, et cetera. But we got to talk about this ballerific table culture that has come out and just swept America as far as black clubs, tables and sections. You got people who go in and they will just make a table. The table, it don't even be ducked off crazy. It just be some goofy shit. And niggas will pay that extra money to get that table. And guess what? It's the niggas paying for the table, man. And chicks want to be at that table. And they are going to go and flock to that table. And guess what? They got the liquor too. They buying the bottles. And this is what happens. They were doing bottle wars as far as like Big Meech and Dipset and whoever else. Like, that was always a thing. But remember, I said, like, making it rain, you was cool doing that. You was cool doing that. That shit is over, bro. That shit is over. What it's about now is the bottle wars, the bottle culture. We have now got bottle girls, even in bumblefuck, fucking West Virginia. Like, bottle girls at the club. Can we find some pseudo bartenders to just put on these thong onesies, these thong outfits every weekend? And when Mr. Baller Man buys a bottle, we put this sparkler on it, hit it with a lighter. The sparkler is going crazy. And we bring this motherfucker some like orange juice, and some other mixy shit, like possibly some lemonade. But we bring them out the bottle of Moet, however you say that shit. We bring them out the Chandon. We bring them out the Rosé. We bring them out the whatever niggas is trying to drink that night. And sometimes what niggas do is they just like, what's the most expensive shit you got type shit. And then you have the whole dynamic of, oh, it's another table. Well, they trying to out bottle the other table. They trying to out bottle the other. So they just buying all this stuff. And guess what happens? All these chicks who not trying to dance on nobody, they're not trying to do nothing. They just came for free drinks. They getting in for free. They flocking to those guys. They flocking to those guys to get liquor poured in their mouth straight from the bottle on their face. They are going to get, fucking champagne bukakes. Now, this bottle culture shit is pretty universal. This is like some white club, black club shit. If you're going to an actual nightclub, like this is a thing now. And it's been this way for in the ballpark of about 15 years. Like, if we talking about places like Miami and stuff, I don't know how long it's been going on, but I knew it was going on in bigger cities before it started hitting the smaller cities. So as a guy back then, you might have had to compete with the guy making it rain, but like I said, like, a nigga could come in with $300 and make himself look like somebody making it rain. Nigga, you not buying 3 bottles with $300. You're not buying 3 bottles and a table with $300, bro. Like, it's just not happening. So, like, these are the niggas that if you go in the club, some of y'all gonna have to compete with. That's just what it is. You're going to have to compete with these guys. So we about to get to the other video, but let's just recap that very quickly. So from a getting fresh perspective, things have changed. It is more expensive to look fly and get fresh in 2025 than it was in 2005. The standard has changed. When it comes to the chicks that are actually in the club, they don't want to dance with you no more. They do not want to dance with you. And if you want to do something with it, you probably gonna have to compete to some extent, depending on what club you're in, what the culture is like. You might have to compete with some baller niggas. You might just have to do that. And I don't know how that's gonna go for you, dog. When you look at the actual experience that men have, there is nothing fun about the club now. Like most of the people that I have talked to that go to the club, they be like, bro, it'd be some bullshit. But they still go just because it's the thing to do. Let me tell you, even when you see footage of niggas in the club, it don't look like they having fun. It don't look like they having fun. And the experience for women, it has not really changed. It has not really changed to a point to where it's to their detriment. Let me say that because, again, they have decided as a collective unit that we are going to stop dancing on guys for the most part. Now, this is one of the last things I'm going to say. The main motive for men in the club, you used to have fun back then, and you might say, man, I'm just going out to have fun, cut loose and stuff like that. That shit is dead. Especially with it as expensive as the club experience is now and with all the economy stuff that I've talked about with you. For the most part, that is dead, like going out to have fun. If most dudes that are going out now, they're going out trying to get bitches. Now, you might say that's not new, but again, you could just go out just to have fun back then, or you could go out to have fun and get bitches. Going out to have fun is pretty dead, and now it's just like, bro, we strictly going to get bitches. This is the thing about that. You don't have to go to the club to get bitches. Take it from a guy who gets bitches. Just don't go to the club. Like, I don't go to the club, bro. I have not been to the club since like 2017. Like, I tapped out because that shit is some bullshit. I recognize. It was a fun night the night that I did go. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It was fun. But that's because people were dancing. It was like, bruh, like, you want me to keep it so real with you? I hadn't been twerked in years. I got twerked that night. And then I had conversations. Motherfuckers be like, well, do you really want people to be twerking, on you nowadays? And I'm like, fam, that's all I know. I don't, whatever y'all get out of experience now, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. That whole I want to be seen in a fly outfit shit, that shit don't move me. That shit don't move me. I understand getting babes. Like, I completely understand that. But most of us, I feel like most dudes who get babes, like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go to the bar. Like, that's just an extra source, an extra place to get babes. And it's like, I'm not gonna lie, bruh. Depending on what you spent and depending on what you're doing, it's like you got to you got to get something like how Denzel said, I'm leaving here with something. Like, it's got to be like that. But that's my perspective on just the evolution of the club and why things are the way they are. We're going to get to the news clip and react to what people have to say now.
And a question tonight, is the fun nature of the nightclub scene dying out? Some people have been complaining about how much the culture of the club has changed in the past few years. Instead of dancing, people have their eyes glued to their damn cell phones and posting on social media. And we can't forget to mention the cost after paying for parking, entry, and then a section that's a private area with your little bottles. Some just aren't in a party mood anymore. We have beverage director and consultant Bevan Biggers, owner of bars and nightclubs Sean Outlaw, and an occasional club goer, Rico Davis. So, Rico, how has the club, in your opinion, from your perspective, lost its appeal?
I believe the parking first, because you're looking at paying almost $40 to $50 if you do valet parking, and just to get to the door, you're looking at sometimes $20, maybe $30. So you're looking at $80 just before you even get in the door.
Right.
And see, depending on the city you in, that's a killer. Now, first off, I'm gonna keep it so real with you. I'm not doing valet parking. That's for ballers. So wherever I park, whether it's a deck or whatever the case, like it's a regular flat parking lot, I'm going to go to a place where we gonna walk back to the car, no matter how far it is, and we gonna get in the line when it's time to get out. That's what the parking is gonna be like for me. But the second thing is, like, sometimes we would try and find free parking spaces, even if it was like 4 blocks away from the club type stuff. Like, and that be crazy. But in some cities where you in a big downtown, you not gonna find that. You got to chalk up that money. You got to cough it out.
And it's not fun anymore when you have to spend so much money to have a good time.
So yours is more on the financial aspect rather than people who are inside on their cell phones, not paying attention, not even socializing.
No one dance anymore.
Right.
You would see someone in a club and they're just literally on their phone the whole time. If you sit there, sometimes I like to do a lot of people watch. I would actually sit there and watch someone on their phone that long. It's like, it's no fun. I mean, you know, me growing up, we go out to dance, to have a good time. But if your face is glued to the phone, what kind of fun is that?
And that is a fact. As far as phone usage, as far as people actually just looking in their phones and not recording stuff, that's something that I didn't include in my explanation, but that is definitely facts. And that kills a lot of the social interaction that you would have. That kills even the ability to make eye contact with another guy or another girl, like whatever the case may be. But like I said earlier, he pretty much, said the same thing that I said when it comes to the dancing. The dancing is dead. Like it's not what it was. Everybody's not invested. The majority are not invested in dancing.
John, your perspective as an owner out there, do you see many people not enjoying themselves, or you let the millennials and the Gen Zers just stay on their phones as long as they're spending that money with you?
Yeah, I mean, we work pretty hard for people to have a good time. We make sure that whether it's the music, the MC, the host, or maybe a guest we might bring on, they do a lot of twerking. Now, I don't know if you call that dancing, but there's a lot of twerking going on. But yeah, no.
They are twerking the air for 30 seconds for a cell phone camera that they girls is holding. And then after they get done doing that, they go and check the snap. They go and look at it and then upload it. And then they do that again and they go through the process again. I've seen a lot of that. Even if they not doing that, they just twerk in the air. I already went over that. So like as far as men and women dancing together, that shit is dead. Or one thing, if you are white and you made it this far, let me know. Are y'all still making out in the club? Are y'all still like smooching strangers in the mouth? I did a poll on that a minute ago, and I know everybody said no. Like, as far as if you personally would do it, but step outside of yourself. Are people in white establishments, as far as clubs and nightclubs, are they still making out? Are strangers still kissing each other in the mouth in public?
The people are on their phones a lot. A lot of times they're showing what they're doing. Or
Right,
what
instead of doing it.
Instead of doing it.
Yeah.
They're not living in the moment, and I see that. But at the same time, I mean, if you want to be on your phone and buy drinks, then I guess that's your business.
And that's an important aspect, Bevan, that people want to show social media what they're doing, but they're not actually doing it.
Because sometimes when I go out, they'll be on their phones, and the only time they dance is if somebody has a camera in their face, like, "Hey, girl, ooh," and then right when the camera's done, back on the phone. I'm like, what is going on? Me, I'm definitely a dance person, so that's why I'm like at the flat a lot, because people come in there specifically to dance and drink and dance. Like I'm coming there to sweat. But it's really hard for me to enjoy myself. I'm not a section person. I'm not gonna get a bottle. I just want a few drinks and I just want to dance.
And
when we talk about that, it's very rare that a chick is a section girl in a sense to where they're actually buying the section and buying bottles in the section. It definitely happens, but they don't account for even half of the people buying sections and bottles and stuff like that. A section girl typically is somebody trying to get at somebody else's table or section or something like that. It's typically what it is. And it's funny because I just talked to my dude like in between certain parts of me making this, and one thing that he told me was like, yeah, chicks be water girls in the club. They just drink water all night and, be waiting for a dude to buy them drinks, but they would just go to the bar and drink water all night. He called them water girls. It's funny. But yeah, that's what's going on in the game now.
places like the fewer and far in between now.
Very few and far in between, but there is like a house movement going on. So there's a lot of like private
house party?
No, like house music party scene where people are coming out specifically to dance, and it's usually house music. That's usually the scene where we're dancing the most. Everything else is twerking periodically for the camera, for your phone.
Man, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? I just told you that.
Oh, yeah, I'm just not enjoying myself if I can't dance.
And so, Rico, have you said, you know what, this is not for me, I might as well stay home?
Yes.
Or do you go to house party? What's your alternative?
My alternative is either like a lounge, someplace really where you're not going to dance. You just really go there to socialize and network. You know, I always say if I had to put together a party, it was one of those requirements where you have to leave your cell phone in the car. And I asked people, I was like, would you be interested? And a lot of people said, you know what, I would go. And I think that would be great. Because now people really get to dance and talk and, you know, communication. Because with cell phones now, there's no communications at all.
And Sean, you said you're hiring more entertainment at your spots. Do you think that will draw people out? Or is that even... You sounded like you're satisfied with it as long as they keep spending that money.
Yeah, I mean, no, but I think that we spend a lot of effort into making sure our customers have a good time. And we do get special guests, musicians, artists, or people on TV shows and things like that. And people do want to see them. But of course, to your point, they're filming them in the background because they're in the same place. So it's kind of funny, you know. But
Hey, let me tell you, and all of y'all should know about this because I'm going to mention like a white person when I get to this, but that was a nasty era when they started booking. And I mean, it's still going on to this day. When they started booking reality TV show stars to come to the club and like putting them on a flyer, like that's the thing to do. Like they're actual celebrities and also Instagram booty models that didn't come to twerk, didn't come to strip. They just come in and rappers' baby moms, like G Herbo baby mom and stuff. Like they booking Ari to just come and stand around. Somebody told Ari mom to twerk or Ari, you know, G Herbo baby mom to twerk. And that's all she's known for. She's known for that big old stupid butt. She had the nerve to get mad at the MC or the host or the DJ, whoever had the mic, for asking her to twerk or telling her to twerk. It's like you got paid thousands of dollars, thousands, to be here. Like, just do a little dance to the air like everybody else, like normal chicks do nowadays, like normal club goer. Like you twerk on your fucking, like all she was doing in that time frame was shaking her butt in the camera. So how do you get mad that that's all you known for? That's all you do. And somebody asks you to do that when you come out and they done paid you thousands of dollars to come out. That's weird. But what I was going to say, I knew shit was crazy when I used to watch Jersey Shore. You got Mike, right? Mike didn't get booked. Mike had a friend called The Unit. I seen a club book The Unit. He's not even an official Jersey Shore character. He's just a friend of a guy on Jersey Shore. And he got a check to go to the club and stand around and drink free liquor. And people paid to see The Unit. That was a nasty era when that shit first started popping off. I don't see it as much, but it still happens. They still book reality TV stars like they actual celebrities to come to spots. And it's the goofiest shit to me.
yeah, I mean, I would say though, you know, in terms of it being expensive to go out, right? There was some complaints about, well, it's getting kind of high to go out. There is, but I think if you were to go to the store, buy a bottle of liquor, buy all the mixers, get a DJ to come to your house, get a bunch of waitresses to bring you everything you need, get a bartender to make all your drinks, and then get someone to clean it all up at the end of the night, I think you'll spend more than you probably would at a night out. So, you know, there's a trade-off there.
And this is why a lot of people don't like certain types of entrepreneurs, because that was just some unnecessary shit. And it was a bad counter, like, you know, counter argument to the club being expensive. It was a bad counter argument. We get it. We get that you got a lot of overhead to throw these parties. You didn't have to counter that. First off, you didn't have to counter that. People are going to go to the club regardless. I'm going to tell you something, man. when it comes to certain types of people, man, and this is a wide demographic in America as far as young people, they don't value anything more than going to the club. They value going to the club and being on the scene of their city. So there's a core demographic that is into that. And the only thing you got to worry about as a club owner is that your club stays hot and it stays the place that they want to go. Only thing you have to be worried about if you're a club owner is competition. That is it. If you are in a major market, you can have a good club run. If you are in a smaller market, more than likely your club run is going to be, 1 year to 3 years. You'll be so lucky if you make it to 5 years. Nobody makes it to a decade if you are in a small market. Nobody. That venue will change hands so many times. Like, it'll be the same spot and it'll go through fucking 6 different names. Fucking Club Intrigue, and then it's like Sleep, and then it's Plush, or like, some other name. So Club Truth, and it just keep changing names every 3 to 4 years. If you're in a small market, you have seen this a million times. If you are in a bigger market, you've absolutely seen it. But when it comes to the hot clubs, like, you got to think about this. Club Live has been in Miami for quite a long time. They are having a great run. King of Diamonds is a strip club in Atlanta, bro. They've been going for 20 years. I think they made it through the pandemic, man. The pandemic shut down Follies. I don't think it shut down King of Diamonds. But with that being said, like, nobody gives a fuck what you have to spend. Nobody gives a fuck about, especially, I'm going to tell you who really doesn't give a fuck. The customers don't give a fuck about the perspective of the owner or the entrepreneur or anything like that. All they care about is the value that they get. And guess what? People are complaining about the club and they saying that the club numbers is going down and stuff like that. If you can't do nothing about the price, you're going to have to deal with what it is. And guess what? There won't be no clubs. Just like malls are going out of style because, like I mentioned earlier, Shein and Fashion Nova is just fucking shit up. They just, for online shopping and the pandemic that pushed everybody inside is just fucking up everything as far as the whole mall economy. People don't want to go and shop physically anymore. People have gotten accustomed to getting stuff sent straight to their doorstep. So every time I look up, it's stores shutting down in the mall. It's whole franchises like Sears and stuff shutting down, and JCPenney and stuff like shutting down, and Kohl's, I don't know if they still open or not, shutting down. Dillard's shutting down. And that's just what it is. And the good thing for those companies, or some of them, is that they have an online model so they can still exist online and they can still compete online. But when it comes to a club, like, if clubs go out of style, like, it's a wrap for you, buddy. It's a wrap for you. But the thing about it is, I know that they won't go out of style. Like, yours might shut down, but, at the end of the day, there's going to be another one. And that's what you have to worry about as a club owner. Not trying to tell us that we can't, it's going to be expensive for us to throw our own parties. It's just crazy to me. Like, you're supposed to be a successful business owner and you don't understand how cold this shit is. You don't understand that nobody gives a fuck about your explanation. They just give a fuck about the value that they get. Like, if I'm not about to keep going on this, man. Y'all get the point. This is not an entrepreneur channel. We just gonna keep it moving.
Even if you're drinking Uber, I like to Uber, so I don't have a parking complaint because I'm gonna Uber to the establishment anyways.
And what I would say, if the customer service is great, the money's not a problem.
We want to thank you guys for joining us.
That's fair.
It's an ongoing debate.
But that's it for today, man. A few things. Let me know what you think about the topic in general. Tell me if you've ever been a club person or not. Like I said last time I went to one was like 2017. I flat out retired because it's weak. And even then, I don't think I was 30 at that point. I don't think I was 30 yet. So, like, post 30s, like, I am super cool on all of that shit. Tell me if you still go out, if you would go. Like, just tell me a lot about what you think about all of this and just your experiences and stuff. And if you did have fun back in the day, or even if you're a young dude, do you have fun now? Or if you don't go out, why don't you go out? You know, why is it not something you were interested in? Because the video, as far as, you know, the back end, it was about millennials, and even the meme was about millennials. Like, you know, if you Gen Z, weigh in, because your generation is the generation that's keeping these clubs open for real, for real. Let me know your thoughts. I'm gone.